Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Animaking 2, and today I'm back with a brand new episode, part 3 of What If Naruto Was Taken to Orochimaru by Sasuke. Remember to get this to 100 likes as usual, share this to all of your friends in your social media platform, and also guys, don't forget to go ahead and check out Anime Symbol. I post a brand new episode of What If Naruto Had the ability to adapt like Doomsday, so go ahead, check out that and enjoy guys. And remember, if you're new, yes I indeed have 4 channels, which I post What If on every single day for you guys to enjoy, so go ahead, check them out and enjoy. Link will be down in the description, so yeah. Without further ado, or waste no more time, would you say we jump right into this brand new episode? Begin now guys. So the last spot we left off, Kakashi along with Team 8 made their way towards the Hidden Sand. As they were going, the team had to rest because they were moving for some time now. Hinata noticed something approaching, but it was too fast as it whipped past them rather easily. Kakashi felt a strange feeling and he thought he saw Blonde. However, it was already done. Later that night, Naruto was resting, as Lascios was resting as well, as he leaned against Lascios. He will be by the sand tomorrow, so everything shall be fine. As the night went by, as Naruto finished sharpening his blades, he fell asleep. The next morning the team arrived, as they spoke to Temari. They found out the information that they need to find out before they set a course towards the Land of Rivers. As they were sending Chio along with them, she would be a great help, Temari told them. With that, Naruto meet up with a contact that Orochimaru had within the village, as the man told Naruto everything that he needed to know. So with that out of the way, Naruto made his way towards Land of Rivers. As Naruto got there, the team had already got there as well, and this was bad as he knew they would try to bring him back. He was in the bingo book as a wanted ninja right now, despite them not knowing the reason why. Things were not looking too good, as Naruto had to wait. The team meet up with Team Guy that Snazzy had sent as backup. With that they were able to break down the wall, however, the problem arose when the seals broke as the other members had to fight them off. However, they had enough. So with that they split into 2 teams. One went after Data and the other went after Sasori. As they started the battle, Guy and Kurenai and Chio. Kurenai hid herself in Genjutsu as she waited for the right moment. Because Sasori seemed almost unkillable, his body was literally a puppet. As the battle raged on, Guy faced off against a man as he used his 100 puppets. Guy opened the gates and obliterated them. However, after destroying the real one, Guy was blindsided and stabbed by a poisonous blade. It turns out that Sasori switched his heart at the last moment. Seeing that, Kurenai came out of hiding as she pierced it right through the back, killing it, as Chio performed her medical ninjutsu in order to save Guy, as she was weakened afterwards, but she was still alive. While that was going on, Deidara was in a bad situation, as he was being pushed back really hard. Yes, he had no hands as Kakashi had destroyed his last remaining hand, so he was pretty much screwed and he had nothing to do but defend. However, Deidara had already plotted for this, as he started to swell up like a massive balloon, gathering an enormous amount of power. Kakashi could not do anything about it because he was severely weak after using the Mangekyou Sharingan, as Kiba thought that he was going to die as he closed his eyes. However, he was safe as Deidara was cut in half. His body dropped, however, revealed that it was nothing but a clay clone. As Naruto was standing there, Kiba was utterly shocked as he told Naruto to come back to the village. However, the look on Naruto's face when he said that, he was surprised, as Naruto let his feelings be known. What he thought about coming back to the village, and what he would not do. Kiba was shocked by this new way of thinking as he couldn't believe that this person standing above him was actually Naruto. With the way he was speaking, as Kiba let him know that the fourth Hokage was his father. Naruto was disgusted by that. Now they want him back after finding something like that out. For all he cared, those people could rot in hell. They've treated him miserable for his entire life. And now that they found out that the fourth Hokage was his father, they want to make amends and they want him back. Screw them, as Naruto made his feelings well known. As Kiba was rather shocked by this new way of thinking. However, something happened as Naruto pulled his blade and sliced, surprising Kiba's Kakashi tried to reach over there. So yeah guys, basically as we left off, you guys can switch across the playthrough of yourself, and remember to go ahead and destroy that red subscribe button and become a part of the Animaking family. And thank you for all of your help and your support. Remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new. I'll be replying talking back to all of you. So yeah, without further ado or wasting any more time, what do you say we jump right into this brand new episode? Begin now guys. Tenten was traveling as fast as she could. She was trying to find Kiba and Kakashi. After finishing off her clone, she had left to find her comrade since she was the closest, as Hinata went back to regroup. Kakashi had told them that he was chasing some man. He had blonde hair and he was wearing a black cloak with red clothes on it. This man had the Kazekage. However, they seemed to have went out of range. When Tenten arrived, she saw a man in a black cloak standing over Kiba. He had blonde hair, so she figured that was him. She launched kunais towards said man. However, the man swatted them away like they were flies with his blade. They said that he rode on an oversized pigeon. Kiba had said it was made from clay and he could make it explode. They neglected to mention that he had a blade, and a very nice one, Tenten thought to herself. Tenten, what are you doing here? He asked. I'm here to back you guys up, stupid. Is this the guy? Not exactly, Kiba said. Not exactly? What the hell, Kiba? Is this the guy or not? She said, raising her tone, as she observed the blonde man in front of her. When she noticed those blue eyes, the spiky blonde hair, then the whiskers. Wait, that's impossible. You're supposed to be dead. Naruto, she said. Naruto sighed. Why does everyone think I'm dead? The spy network of Konoha must be truly lacking, he said. Tenten was confused before excitement washed over her. Wait, you're alive? This is really good news. Now you can come back. Not gonna happen, said Naruto. Tenten was now tremendously confused. What? Why? Because he's still holding animosity towards the village for the way they treated him. He doesn't believe anything has changed, Kiba said. Tenten was left dumbstruck by the information, and Naruto took this moment to voice his intentions. Look, meeting you guys here was nice and everything, but I'm not here to stay. I only came to save Gaara. But it seems I was too late, said Naruto, as his gaze downcast for a moment. As soon as it came, though, it went away. The best I can do now is return his corpse back to the sand. So if you excuse me, said Naruto as he turned. He had to twist and jump away as leaf feet came crashing down in the spot where he was, kicking up a lot of dust and debris. As Naruto glanced over towards Gaara's corpse, however, it was lifted away by bugs, a lot of them. As he looked to see Shino standing beside Kiba, Hinata was also there, helping up a still unconscious Orochimaru. Chio was there as well, Neji, Guy, Kurnai. Guy was supporting the very exhausted Kakashi. They all believed Naruto to be the enemy. As Lee spoke up, You will not prevail in your unyouthful action today, he said. As Naruto turned his gaze, when they saw the marks, Lee blinked in utter shock. Naruto? As his eyes then widened in excitement. Naruto, my most youthful comrade! It is you! The others blinked in shock when they heard it, having no idea about his new mindset. Naruto, is that really you? I thought you died, said Neji. His tone was skeptical. Naruto did not respond though. It was truly annoying that everyone believed that he was dead. However, Naruto felt like he had to do this. I don't have time for this. Just hand over Gaara's body, and I'll be on my way. Kiba picked himself up into a fighting stance. Sorry, we can't let you leave. You're coming with us, said Kiba. What do you mean, Kiba? Why are you standing like that? Neji asked, seeing the stance. It was like he seen Naruto as a threat. He's refusing to come back peacefully. If that is the case, it is our duty to capture him and bring him back. He's a missing after all, Kiba said, as he realized that he could not get through to Naruto. So, he would just force him to see what has happened in the time that he's been missing. Kakashi spoke up. Naruto, is that true? He said. Yes, and I've made up my mind, said Naruto. He saw Neji, Tenten and Lee slip into their fighting stance. He unsheathed his blade. I see there's no other way. I don't want to hurt you guys, said Naruto. The remark made Kiba scoff. Hurt us? You're outnumbered. We're the ones that don't want to hurt you, Kiba said. Kiba, do not underestimate him. He was known to be one of the most unpredictable ninja ever. And you have no idea what he's been doing for the past couple of years. Neji said as he eyed Naruto. You should listen. That Inuzaka arrogance is going to get you killed one day, said Naruto. As Kiba snarled at that, how he was really gonna get it now. Come on, Neji. It's been some time, but it's Naruto. He can't be that strong. Tenten said. Big talk for a plain Jane. Couldn't reach you like yourself, said Naruto. Her eye twitched at that. You're definitely going down, she said. Yosh, said Lee. I will finally get to test my flames of youth against a worthy opponent and bring my most youthful friend home, he said. He seemed excited and happy. Lee, calm down. Don't just rush into this. We need a plan. Oh, shut it, Neji. Let's just get it over with already. Let's take him down, Kiba said as he rushed forward. I'm kind of with Kiba on this one, said Tenten as she spun her Kazuragama. Yosh, said Lee as he shot forward. As Neji sighed before he made his way forward, Kiba tried to swipe at Naruto, however Naruto sidestepped him and grabbed his wrist without looking and threw Kiba away with little to no effort. He then raised his blade and blocked the chain from Tenten's sickle. She snatched the sickle back as she quickly closed the distance between them. She lashed out at him. She was going to make him regret calling her a plain Jane, as Naruto was evading every strike that she threw though, like it was nothing. Orochimaru always told them that they're going to have to be extremely fast and swift if they're going to survive his training regime, so they had to become fast and swift. Otherwise, they would suffer immensely. So right now Naruto was pretty laid back, as he simply dodged all of her strikes with ease. Damn it, stop moving, you slippery little bastard, she yelled as she swung at him once again. Sure, I'll just stand here and let you hack me into little tiny pieces. Sounds rather delightful, said Naruto as he dodged her. She was not amused by his sarcasm as she swung with more ferocity. Fight me like a man, she said. You should not ask for things that you would not like. Now calm down before I retaliate. I find it really troublesome to really hurt a woman, said Naruto. However, that had the opposite effect on her. He played the gender card and that pissed her off. Like he was saying that he was better because she was a kunoichi. It was official. The bastard dared to undermine her skills. She was gonna make him pay for it. She was fueled with blind rage as she attacked vigorously. Naruto sighed as he slammed his blade right through her chain, pinning it down to the ground. She cursed as she could not lift it. As he raised his hand, she quickly jumped back because he was aiming to grab her. Tintin panted where she was. As Naruto ducked, Lee crashed down where he was. He had tried to use the element of surprise to end the fight quickly, with a well-placed kick to the head. However, Naruto had already moved, and lashed out and grabbed onto Lee's leg. As Naruto flipped him off the ground, he spun on his heel and slammed his outstretched leg right into Lee's stomach, sending him flying away. Naruto then spun around as he started to dodge Neji's strikes, as Neji was aiming for all of his points. However, this was what Neji wanted. He had to distance Naruto away from his blade. From what he observed so far, he seemed quite adept in Kinjutsu. With that in his grasp, it would be too troublesome. As Naruto frowned as he saw what Neji was trying to do, it was obvious that he analyzed his ability in Kinjutsu, and he was trying to distance him away from his blade. As Neji slammed one of his hits in Naruto's shoulder, as he was able to dislocate the point in it, Neji did not stop as he pressed on. That is when he saw it, the opening that he was looking for. Now's my chance. 8 tetragrams. 64 palms, he said. He slammed 2 palms in Naruto's shoulder. 4 palms. 8 palms. 16 palms. 32 palms. 64 palms, Neji said, aiming to close off every single one of Naruto's points. However, to all of their shock and disbelief, poof! Naruto went up in smoke. Neji could not believe it. How? He said, as he was sure that was the real one. But it was a clone. But when? It made no sense. My turn. A voice spoke up. Neji barely had enough time to turn. Wind style. Beast wave. Gale palm. A large mass of chakra flew from Naruto's hand. It took the shape of a demonic beast's head and shoot forward. Neji quickly released chakra from every point over his body. 8 tetragrams. Rotation, he said as he spun. The attack slammed against his dome. Neji felt his clothing being ripped up as some of the wind blades were getting through. He cursed as he forced out a large amount of chakra. He was able to destroy the attack, however he dropped down to one knee, panting. However, he picked himself back up as Naruto was standing there like nothing just happened. Neji dropped back in his stance. Is that all you got? He said. Hinata was conflicted as she watched the scene. She was shocked that Naruto was there, happy that he was alive and sad that he would not come home and scared that they were fighting. Her emotions were swirling and warring against each other as she watched the scene in front of her. Lady Chio was kneeling beside Gaara as she observed the battle. She was puzzled why they were fighting against one another, as she concluded that he might be a missing in. Young people these days, and their thirst and hunger for power. She looked back down to Gaara. He was indeed dead, however. She would fix that, using her reincarnation technique to revive him. It would cost her life, however. She owed that to him. She was the one that made his life hell. She was the one that sealed the Shikaku inside of him. However, the light on her hand started dim. Not enough chakra, she said, as she was panting. Lady Chio tried her best, as she could not afford to stop and recuperate. By that time his soul would have already left the mortal plane. However, it was not enough. Her chakra was just too low. However, 2 hands were placed on her own, as she looked up to see Kurenai smiling at her. Take mine, Lady Chio, she said. I have plenty left. As Chio smiled at the gesture, as the warm chakra of Kurenai empowered the jutsu, allowing Chio to do what she had to do. Meanwhile, with Naruto, he ducked under Kiba claws. Naruto was trying his hardest not to physically maim or hurt them in a way that it might end their shinobi career. As much as he was not going back to Konoha, his mindset was not to kill these people. However, he wouldn't allow them to take him down, so he started to release some of his actual strength. Naruto sidestepped Kiba's punch before stepping into his guard and slamming a knee into his guts. He then grabbed Kiba by the face and lifted him off the ground and slammed him into the ground. Kiba was knocked out instantly as Naruto spun around, dodging Tenten's strike. Naruto blinked as Tenten was using his sword against him. Due to him breaking her weapon a moment ago, she now believed that she could handle his. As Naruto stumbled, she was surprised that he stumbled so easily. It gave her the perfect chance to do this. However, it was just an act. At the last second before she could not pull back anymore, he spun and grabbed her wrists. As he slammed his elbow into her neck, her grasp on his sword lessened. As she was shocked, however, she passed out instantly. Naruto spun around to see Lee, rushing towards him full speed. As Naruto gave him some credit for his endurance and perseverance, but, well, the battle had to be ended quickly. He wasted enough time here. Naruto slammed his blade into the ground as he flashed through 3 hand signs. Wind style. Unrelenting force, he said. A massive, powerful wind exploded from his mouth. Lee had to stop as he braced himself, but it was nowhere close enough to keep him protected. The gust slammed into him as it picked him off the ground. He slammed through a tree before slamming into a large rock. He passed out. Neji was in awe and shock as he watched Naruto disassemble the 3 of them, like it was nothing. He knew that Naruto was holding back, but he could just not guess that he was holding back this much. This was definitely not the blonde that he fought 3 years ago. Even when outnumbered, he was making short work of all of them. It's almost like he was not trying before now. Neji proceeded to pull out a kunai. He had to end this. As he rushed forward, as Naruto turned to see him running towards him and draw for his blade. As Naruto vanished, moving towards Neji with incredible speed. However, they never got to strike at each other. There was no killer intent. There was no intent of trying to harm him coming from her. He let his guard down, not focusing on her because she had posed no threat. She slammed right into him as she wrapped her arms around him, trying to stop him. He could hear her crying as she held on to him, shaking. Looking downwards, Hinata was holding on to him. Naruto was in shock. She was usually shy and timid, but now, Naruto-kun, she said, no more. Please, stop, she begged, trying to get him to stop. What was going on? She was tired of seeing them fighting and she wanted to put a stop to it. She didn't want anyone to get hurt anymore, so she did the first thing that came to mind and jumped in the way and hugged him. As Naruto was taken aback, as she cried her heart out, begging him to stop. He felt a comforting sensation as she held on to him. As she gripped him tighter, her sobs filled his ears once more. Despite everything that has happened, Naruto has always been a person that cared for others, especially when someone is in a state of sadness or crying, and his arms moved on their own and wrapped around her, comforting her. She was shocked as she felt him return the embrace, as she leaned into his chest even more. So warm, she thought to herself, as Naruto was also engrossed in the hug. For the past 3 years, he has felt nothing but anger and rage, at being betrayed, at being always overlooked, cast aside. So in this moment of having someone caring for him, it made him happy. However, that was a problem. Being happy always came with something, and that was the weakness to not see what was behind him. As Naruto felt something chop him in the back of the neck, and it was none other than Neji. It was too late. Damn it, he cursed to himself. Hinata was so caught up in hugging him that she did not even notice as all his weight collapsed on her, making the both of them fall to the ground in a heap. She blushed as Naruto's face was planted right between her chests. She cast her gaze up to see Neji standing there, breathing heavily on shaky knees. Neji was surprised at his younger cousin's intervention. It was rather unusual coming from her and her shy nature, but it gave him the opportunity that he needed because he realized that, in terms of trying to overpower Naruto, he would have failed. Kurenai had watched the whole altercation from her position beside Lady Chio. She too was surprised by Hinata. However, it wore off as she remembered how much Hinata cared for the blonde and her friends. At the same time, Chio was growing weaker and weaker as her body was nearly running out. Thoughts of her brother, her son, his wife, and even her grandson filled her head. She had no regrets, and soon she would leave this world to join them in the next one. Though she did feel bad about leaving her brother all alone. Guess this time is for real, she thought to herself, as she remembered all the times that she faked her death. With mere seconds left, she turned her gaze to Gaara. I'm so sorry for all I've put you through. But now I'm making amends and I hope you can find it in your heart to forgive me. You are the future and the hope of the Hidden Sand. Guide them well, she said. The chakra faded away from her hands as she started to fall, however Guy caught her. Kurenai figured that she was just tired from what she had done in the battle earlier. She got to her feet as she staggered. She caught herself though. She took a lot more than I expected, Kurenai thought, as she quickly made her way towards where the battle had just commenced. She did not see the look on Guy's face as Chio was gone. Meanwhile, Hinata sat in the center of the field as Naruto's head was resting peacefully on her lap. That was quite a show, Hinata. She turned as she saw Kurenai-sensei and the grip that Hinata had on him to keep him safe. That's one mighty grip you have there. Are you afraid that he might disappear or something? Kurenai asks, making Hinata blush. But she actually believed that he might disappear any second from now, given the past 3 years which has been literal hell. But now she had him back. All she wanted was for him to return back to the village. Kurenai smiled down towards the girl. You really care for him a lot, don't you? I do, Sensei. I want nothing more than for him to return back to the village. But, as she lowered her gaze, you also want him to be happy. Hinata nodded, as there were tears in her eyes as they started to drip. Even if that means he can't, she said to herself. She had heard what Naruto said. Kurenai felt her heart drop as well, as she saw the tears streaking down Hinata's face. The boy had been adamant on not coming back. No, they were trying to force him back against his will. There was no telling what will happen. She wasn't really happy with it, but it was their job. He was a missing link and they had to capture him. She also didn't want to face Naruto's wrath if she found out that they ran into Naruto and they did not bring him back. Kurenai actually sort of liked the boy as well. He might be loud, brash, and hyperactive, but he always stood proud in what he believed in, and he was one to never give up. However, the past 3 years has seemed to have changed him tremendously. It's only a matter of time now, as she wondered if the ones that care for him, if they could actually convince him to stay. Snappy, we'll figure something out, she told Hinata as she placed a hand on her shoulder. Time skip. The Sand Forces arrive, as they arrived just in time to see Gaara waking up. They all cheered in excitement when they saw their leader was safe and on his feet, as Temari hugged him tightly. Gaara, on the other hand, was confused on what was going on and where exactly was he. The last thing he remembered was a dark cave and the chakra being ripped out of him. As Guy came over with the body of Chio, the jutsu was a forbidden one. Kankuro knew about it as he told him. Chio had accidentally developed it after she was trying to breathe life in her puppets. However, she got something else. Gaara got to his feet. A moment of silence for Chio-sama, he said, as everyone hung their head in respect for the old woman. She had given them back their leader and they will always be grateful. Gaara's gaze had caught upon something though. Once given his respect, he saw the blonde. Is that Naruto? As unbelievable as it is, yes, it is him. Kakashi spoke up from his position next to Guy. Gaara saw the sleeping ninjas next to him, and he took them down by himself. More like he was not even trying that hard. He was obviously tremendously holding back until the end. There is no telling how strong he is now. From what I've seen so far, his agility is amazing, and he seemed to be a master with that blade of his. As Kakashi explained the only reason why he believed Naruto was taken down, and that was because of the sudden affection from Hinata. Gaara raised eyebrows at that, but he did not mention it. "What are you planning to do with him?" he asked. "Well, first we were hoping to stay a few days in the sand to recuperate. We're still pretty exhausted from taking on the Akatsuki, and as you can see, Naruto really did a number on those 4. After that, we'll return back to Konoha and take him back with us." Gaara summoned a few of his ninjas. "Gather up our leaf allies and bring them back to the sand," he said. "Set them up in a hotel as well," Gaara said. "Yes, sir." Hinata wasn't quite happy with giving up Naruto. She just did not trust them with him being a missing link and all. They might try to capitalize on his bounty. When he was coming back with them, at least he would be amongst friends. Hinata was tense as they got closer. Kurenai noticed that. "It's okay, Hinata. They're friends." She glanced back down toward the sleeping boy, as she was still afraid that he might just disappear. However, she relented. Within a few minutes, they were heading back. Time skip. Naruto had been slipping in and out. The last thing you remember was being at the sand gates, covered in chains and chakra suppressing seals, before he was knocked back out once again. Ever since he was woken up in the sand, again and again they keep on knocking him out to subdue him, and it was pissing him off greatly. Every time he awoke, just after he gathered his senses, it was light out once again. He didn't have time to come up with an escape plan. He was starving, and he was pretty sure that it was not healthy for a person to be slipping in and out of consciousness like that. In fact, the longest he had been awake was when he had a private conversation with Gaara, sometime before he had left. He's been out for so long, weeks could have passed by for as long as he knew. So the next time he woke up, he decided to not alert them. He carefully surveyed the area to find out where exactly he was. He was looking down as he saw bright green, the orange leg warmers as well. He figured that he was being carried, most likely slung over the person's shoulder. Judging from the height, clothing, and leg warmers, it had to be Guy. Directly in front of him he heard Lee and Tenten as they were mid in conversation. "This sword is amazing, beautiful and simple at the same time," Tenten said with Naruto Chokido. "It is a most youthful sword," Lee said from beside her, as they were walking at a moderate pace. "You know, I just might hold on to this," Tenten said. "Tenten, stealing is most unyouthful. This sword belongs to Naruto-kun, and I don't think he would be happy about you taking his weapon. Besides, you have plenty of weapons." "Well, tough cookies," she said. "He should have thought about that before he broke my Kizarigama." "Broke mine, and I take his," she said. "Besides, there's just something rather unique about this one." Lee was right about one thing. Naruto was not happy. In fact, he was livid as she held on to his blade like it belonged to her. She even dared to have the right to say that she was going to keep it as her own. The sheer blasphemy that came from her mouth made his blood boil. As Naruto got too pissed off, Tenten was hit with a heavy dose of killer intent. It slammed into her like a train. She spun around in shock as she saw the fiery, blue eyes looking at her. She flinched away in fear until she realized where it was coming from, the blonde that was slunched over their sensei's shoulder. A smirk quickly came on her face. Well, well, well. Look who's finally awake, Tenten said. It was enough to draw the others' attention as they turned their gaze to see that Naruto was awake. He was exhausted, and not to mention the seals. He let his anger got the better of him, and now he got caught. Damn it. We still have quite the way before we get back to Konoha. I guess it's light out once again, Kiba said as he raised his hand. However, it was caught by another. Kiba, enough. He's been out long enough. Give him some time to breathe. Continuously knocking someone out like that is not good for their health. Bringing back a long lost friend will not do any good if you give him health problem in the process. I don't think I need to explain what Tsunade-sama will do if she finds out that you are the one responsible for any health defects with Naruto. As Kiba did the maths, pissed off Tsunade plus super strength, extraordinary medical skills, never endless beatdown, he stepped away. This was one of the times that he was jealous for Naruto's closeness with the Hokage. She obviously favored the boy more than a lot of them. It was evident when people caught her weeping after the boy's disappearance, when she thought no one was looking. With that over with, Kiba decided to do what he do best. I guess you're not so big and bad, mister. I'm not so good for Konoha anymore. However, Naruto did not even acknowledge him, but he still pressed on. Wow, I never thought of you as a brooding type, but I guess I would be brooding as well if I just got my ass handed to me by my peers. Guess you're not as strong as you thought you were. It's just like I told you in the beginning. We would bring you back to Konoha by force if we had to. Now look at you. It's okay though. Maybe one day you would be an elite ninja like me. As Kiba turned to face Naruto, the look on Naruto's face was blank. Like Kiba had just spoken pure nonsense. If you're what is known as elite in Konoha now, then I fear for the village future. You're as about as elite as a blade of grass. All bark and no bite. If I hadn't held back, I would have just killed you and tossed your pansy ass aside like a rag doll, said Naruto. Kiba became red in the face. Even if he did not want to admit it, there was many truths in what Naruto was saying. Tintin was giggling in the background as Naruto glanced towards her. And what are you laughing at, Plain Jane? You're no better than he was. You lost your temper and simply rushed in with blind fury. I could have cut you down 23 different times. Yes, I counted. But I didn't, because I'm kind of a nice guy, as you can see, said Naruto. Lee had to grab Tenten and hold her back as she was trying to lop off the blonde's head with his own blade. As Naruto smirked, see? So easy to lose your temper. And while I'm on this subject, I'll just go and say it. You guys are inferior to me. They flinched at his remark as he continued. Kiba, you're arrogant and overconfident in your abilities, which aren't that much, and it will get you killed one day. Tenten, you're a hothead, and you lose your composure too quick, which will also get you killed. Lee, you would be a better ninja if you knew some ninjutsu, which also happened to be your weakness. And last but not least, at least you, Neji, are a worthy opponent. That calculating mind and that gentle fists are annoying to face, but it does not matter because I outclass you, said Naruto. It felt like they were being criticized by their sensei, and their sensei was being a real bastard about it. And by the way, said Naruto as he glanced towards Kiba, the only reason I lost is because of Hinata. If she hadn't distracted me, I would have been miles away by now. None of them caught the look on Hinata's face as she walked ahead of them. Kiba was absolutely livid. Who the hell is he, coming in here and berating them, acting all high and mighty when he was the one subdued? Kakashi saw the look on Kiba's face. He decided to speak up before Kiba did something stupid. Naruto, what has become of you? You were never this arrogant. I'm not being arrogant, Kakashi, said Naruto. I'm being truthful. I've trained rigorously with a Sannin for the last 3 years. I never said I was all powerful, but they're just not good enough to face me. Kakashi flinched. Sannin, he thought to himself. There was no way. If Jiraiya... No. He said with a worried expression. What do you mean you've been training with a Sanin? You can't mean Orochimaru, said Naruto. All of them couldn't believe what they just heard. How could you? He's one of Konoha's greatest enemy, Kakashi said. How could you do something like that? Naruto did not answer. Answer me, he yelled. No, said Naruto. Kakashi was getting pissed off. Naruto, you will answer me or what, said Naruto. Kakashi did not really have an answer to that. Exactly. You leaf ninjas are all the same, he said. You're a leaf ninja too, you bastard, Kiba yelled at him. I was a leaf ninja, said Naruto. You guys branded me as a missing name. Look, just get me quickly to Konoha. The faster we get this over with, the faster I can go home. Home? You think we're just gonna let you run back to that snake, bastard? Ha, you'll be lucky if Tsunade-sama ever let you see the light of day ever again, said Tenten. Naruto simply kept his head down. We'll see about that, he thought. After 3 days of traveling, the village was finally in sight. Given the recent conversation, they were not too happy. But they were at least feeding him now. It's almost like they forgot that he was human, and he had to eat like the rest of them. His legs had fallen asleep from being hosted over Guy's shoulder, so good thing they let him walk again. As Naruto had gotten a rather full bladder, and Kiba had been elected for the job. Kiba had came back more pissed off than ever. Now they were all tiredly making their way down the dirt road that led to Konoha. Yush, we're finally home, Lee said, as they went through customs and made their way. Tsunade received word right away that the group had came back and they had a missing in with them. Kakashi had sent her word though a few days ago, and she couldn't believe it when she read the note. But he was here, back in the village. Naruto was home. The whole thing seemed so unreal. First he just disappeared and now Kakashi stumbled across him and captured him. After 3 long years, the quiet knucklehead was finally back. Just the thought of him being safe and okay was enough to bring a bright smile to her face. Tsunade-sama. She was finally snapped out of her thoughts. Huh? What? Is it you? Is he really back? Shizune asked. Tsunade smiled, if only. The little brat actually knew how much people care for him. Shizune, go and fetch Team 10 and soccer. Meanwhile, within Konoha Hot Springs, resting. It was a wonderful day to relax in the warm water of the hot springs. However, they were being watched. Yes, they were all being watched. As he was camped up, watching them with his telescope and his notepad. As Jiraiya giggled to himself as he watched the scene. His telescope caught something though as he gazed upward to see a mass of people gathering. Curious, he turned his telescope towards them and he froze when he saw who it was. Jiraiya sat there in disbelief, as he could not believe it. After all this time, he thought to himself, as he quickly packed up his stuff. Meanwhile, they were trying to get Naruto there quietly, but they failed miserably. Everyone, and I mean everyone, turned their gaze towards them. As everyone quieted down, there was no sounds being made, till they started to whisper amongst themselves. Moving to the side of the road as a group walked through the path, surrounded by them. Everyone whispered amongst themselves. Naruto had stopped as he glanced up toward the sky. Kiba had pushed him forward. As Naruto continued to walk once again, Kakashi released a tired sigh as they made their way. As Naruto already planned an escape, Lashios was here, but he told him to stay away. If any one of them were to hurt Lashios, he would lay waste to everything. As he cared more about Lashios than all of these people gathering and looking around. However, Lashios would be ready once he gave the signal. But he needed to do this, to get this over with. The faster he put this behind him, the better. It was strange, but over the past years, he has got people by his side. Sasuke, Kabuto, Orochimaru, Lashios. And then, he remembered the necklace that he had bought. As he thought about a specific girl in mind, even though she annoyed him to high heavens the first time they met. Things was different now, and he would do whatever it takes to make her happy, as he thought about a special someone. However, his recent interaction with Hinata, no, he couldn't. Those feelings from earlier was a lapse on his part. The thought of seeing the village once again brought up strange feelings, and they actually were a side effect that came out strong when Hinata had hugged him. Besides, there was someone else, he thought. As he thought about a different girl in mind. He will see her soon. For now though, as he steeled himself, knowing that there would be a lot of begging for him to return back home. The moment of truth was here as they arrived in front of the Hokage's tower. Meanwhile, inside, Sakura was there, waiting. When she arrived there, she noticed that Team 10 was there along with their sensei Asuma. She asked Nede-sama why she was called. She told her that it was a long-awaited homecoming. She knew about Kakashi and Team 8's mission 2 weeks ago. But why would that be a long-awaited homecoming? As there was a knock on the door, she told them to enter. The group was back. However, someone else was there. Sakura stood there in utter shock, as she couldn't believe what she was seeing. Moments passed by in silence. Tsunade asked for Kakashi's report, which he gave. Truthfully, she didn't want to hear it. She was just glad that everyone returned home safely and unharmed because Hokage was alive. But she wanted to hear how they ran into Naruto and how they were able to capture him. As Kakashi got to the last part, when Naruto came and saved Kiba and himself, and when he refused to come back and they got into a brawl, which ended in Naruto being knocked out. The four that was mentioned had downcast looks on their faces as Hinata cheeks were a bit pink. She was rather surprised. To how Kakashi described it, it seems that Naruto has gotten a lot stronger. She looked at his gaze. He wasn't looking at her or anyone else. He was looking at the decks. Tsunade had thought about this moment many times in the past. What she would say when she finally see him again. How she would react. How she would greet him. As he just stared at the decks in front of her. However, she never expected him to come back, bound and chained. And from the look on his face, he didn't want to be there. Her heart nearly broke when Kakashi said he did not want to return back to the village. But she will find out for herself, here and now. The office seemed a lot smaller as there was a lot of people surrounding him on all sides. As his gaze was focused on a weird pattern at the edge of Tsunade's decks. Even though he couldn't see them, he could feel their gaze on him. The last gaze that he saw when he first stepped inside was Sakura's, of total shock and disbelief. His gaze was still on the swirl pattern that was carved into the wood. Naruto. He finally heard his name. His gaze then looked up. Tsunade was looking at him with a smile. "You've gotten a lot taller than me," she said. She was trying to break the ice. However, Naruto was not the same that he was a couple years ago. So his response was not one that she was going to like. Amazing, right? Who would have thought it possible, especially after all those years? Starving, stunting my growth. His tone had so much venom in it. It pained her to hear this, but she carried through. "So, are you going to tell me? How have you been all these years?" "Alive," said Naruto. Tsunade sighed. It was difficult. "Can you at least tell me where you've been all this time? And what happened to you 3 years ago?" However, he did not answer, so Kakashi spoke up. "Forgive me for the interruption, but I believe that Naruto, along with Sasuke, had been with Orochimaru. It seems he has been trained quite well." A look of shock mirrored on almost everyone's faces that did not know. "Naruto, is this true?" Tsunade said. "So what if it is? Why does it matter to you anyway? Of all the people, why him? Why did you run away, she said. I did not run away, neither. Did I go there by choice? His tone was sharp. What do you mean? After Sasuke and I fought, I was left unconscious. So he took it upon himself to bring me to Orochimaru. I woke up later bound and sealed on a bed. A spark of hope welled up inside of her. This proved that he did not leave willingly. There was still a chance for him. But you're here now. You can return to the village, and I can have you reinstated. Not gonna happen. Tsunade was cut off. What are you talking about? She said. She had hoped Kakashi was lying about that part. I am not staying here. They're the reason I live. This trouble in life. They wanted me gone, so yeah. I'm now gone, said Naruto. I want nothing to do with this place. It's not like that. Your father was the fort? Naruto interrupted her. You know, when Kiba told me, I wonder, was he going mad or something? But now, seeing that look on your face, now I know it is true. If that's the case, now I'm definitely not returning. These people are just pure hypocrites. After what I've been through when I was younger, now they know my father's a fort. They think that, what, they can just welcome me back? Say that, let's forget about the past and just go on with our life? Well, screw them and screw him. All of them can burn in hell for all I care. Naruto was slapped. But not by Tsunade. It was Sakura. As her eyes were filled with tears and fear. Why? Why are you being like this? What happened to you? She said. Her whole body was trembling. Naruto couldn't help but laugh. But there was no humor in the tone. Same old Sakura, he said. Hit first and ask questions later. You know, you're right. I'm not the same Naruto. The old one would have followed you around like a lost puppy, begging for the slightest hope of acknowledgement from you. He would have gone through hell and everything, probably even given up his own life for you. And what the hell would he have gotten in return? Tears started to leak down her face. Let me tell you what he got. He got hated. He got scorned. Whenever he tried to ask or do something, he got hit. Never given the time of day. It doesn't matter what he did or how hard he tried. But that Naruto is long dead. The remorse and tears kept on coming. Naruto, I'm so sorry. Save it, said Naruto. I don't want your apology. As he glanced towards the window. So you're not gonna stay, Tsunade asked. Her voice was steely and filled with resolve. If he truly believed in what he was saying, she would have to put him in jail. For the time being. Yeah, I'm not gonna stay. It's time for me to go, said Naruto. Tsunade's eyes narrowed, the way he said that. He might have gotten stronger, but there was no way that he could take her, all the Jonins and the Chunins in the room, and outrun everyone and make his way back to Orochimaru. That was just not possible. He then whistled. Everyone tensed as they got ready. However, he did not move. However, a bright and intensely bright light swallowed the entire place. Before, boom! The explosion sent everyone in a frenzy. The envoys flooded the place to search for their leader. Tsunade pushed the debris off of her as she got to her feet. That explosion caught her and everyone off guard, and her ears were ringing. She didn't know what caused it, but whatever it was insanely powerful. The ringing in her ears stopped as she looked around. Naruto has escaped. Find him. Do not let him leave this village, she yelled. Yes, ma'am, the envoy said. Tsunade cursed as she quickly got to her feet. Tenten over the side coughed as she felt around. His blade, it was gone. Time skip. A lone figure sat on top of a cliff, his feet hanging low as he glanced over the radius in front of him. It had been nearly 2 weeks since Naruto left, and Sasuke found it odd that he had not returned just yet. Despite knowing that Naruto was captured because Orochimaru's spy had gave him word. However, Sasuke was not buying it. There was no way that his friend was captured like that. And even if they had captured him, that troublesome dragon would get in the way. There was no doubt about that. They must have had something on him, some sort of collateral. Something that he wouldn't be able to refuse. But Sasuke could not think of it. Nevertheless, Sasuke knew that he would return soon enough. There was no way he would not, especially with her still here. Sasuke brushed himself off tomorrow. He was going to set out and see what happened to Naruto. He might not show it, but he was worried about his friend. Hell, they were practically brothers. In the future, once he has dealt with Itachi, he would find someone and settle down with. And he would rebuild the Uchiha clan. He would make it greater than before. And then, he knew what Naruto had planned as well. He would merge his clan with his. As Sasuke got to his feet and stretched, that is when Lashios came down in a dive as Naruto leaped and landed on his feet. "Yo, Sasuke," he said. Sasuke glanced towards him. "And just where the hell have you been?" he asked. "Oh, you know, just got lost on the road of life." "What, did you miss me?" "Tch, hardly," Sasuke said. Sasuke then smirked. "And when you say lost on the road of life, do you mean being captured by leaf ninjas?" He enjoyed the look on Naruto's face. "I have no idea what you're talking about." "Save it. The spy from the stand already informed us of what happened." Naruto sighed. Before he could say anything though, "Big brother!" a voice yelled. Naruto spun as a yellow and black blur slammed into him, knocking the air out of his lungs. Naruto landed on his back, with a new weight on his chest. It seems like it did not matter how much time he told her not to do that. She always do it. "I missed you," the child on his chest said with a smile. However, Naruto burst in smoke as she collapsed on the ground. "Ouchie," she said. "Suki-chan." She looked up to see the real Naruto. "How much time have I told you not to do that?" That was the reason why he sent in a clone. "No fear. You can't use a shadow clone," she said, as she folded her arms with a huff. As Naruto stood there and chuckled to himself. She was wearing a black sleeve shirt and pants and sandals. Strapped on her back was a blue kodiki that was fashioned like Naruto blade. She had short blonde hair that stopped right at her shoulders. She wore a black headband, much like what Sakura did. 3 years ago, not too long after Naruto and Sasuke had been training, Suki had been brought in by some sound ninja. She was the only survivor of her clan massacre. She was only 4 at the time. Orochimaru took interest in her unique bloodline. She had the strange telekinetic powers as well, and the ability to turn invisible. When they first met, she thought that Naruto was her long-lost brother, and she refused to believe otherwise. It didn't help that they had the same shade of sunny blonde hair, and they both could wield wind chakra. The only difference was their eyes, his ocean blue and her forest green. So she shadowed him just like any other younger sibling would do. At first, she annoyed him. She asked him a million questions, some that he could not answer. Over time though, she grew on him. It reminded him of the relationship that he had with Konohamaru back in Konoha. However, they grew much close, and he indeed became her older brother. As she was just like him. She was carefree, hyperactive, loud, and she also had a knack for pranks. And her main target was always Sasuke. And she was just like him, not taking lip from anyone. It didn't matter who they were. The only person this did not apply to was Orochimaru, as she found him way too creepy. Eventually he warmed up to the idea of being a big brother, and he started to help her with her training and teaching her wind jutsu. As Naruto looked down towards her, this was another reason why he would not go back to the Hidden Leaf. However, there was also someone else that he needed to visit. But guys, be ends up so right here. If you want to see next part and do, Like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification stay posted. Remember, share all of your friends in your social media platform. And also, guys, don't forget to go ahead and check out the other what ifs of the other channels. Yes, I indeed have 4 of them which I post what if on every single day for you guys to enjoy. So go ahead and smash that red subscribe button and become a part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and support. Remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new. I'll be replying talking back to all of you. So yeah, without further ado, wasting more time, I'm out for now. See you guys soon. Peace.